More of your favorites are right here at the TTT Radio Network worldwide.
Welcome to Not Your Mother's Radio, a different kind of radio. And now, here's Eliot, who's definitely not your mom. Enjoy.
Good morning, everybody, and it was a heck of a night. Peter White spent the night with us last night, and he did some great DJ work. And we kind of talked till late in the night, and I'm pretty beat up right now, and I'm tired. And got some bad news today. It seems that Tabitha Lovell couldn't find anything to wear, so she's not going to be with us this morning. But I know David's going to be here later. He's going to give us a little peace and love and understanding for the rest of the week. And I'm sure Mauro is going to be popping in. And we may have some special guests. We'll see who else is floating around. So anyway, let's get the show started. And we're going to take it a little slow today. I'll be doing a little more, I think, just straight on DJ stuff today. So I'll be picking out some music that we haven't heard in a while. And what else can I tell you guys? I don't know. We'll have some fun today. That's all. I have some great listeners out there. I know DJ Cat is there, Jazzy Cat, and she's going to be listening in. Jim McCarthy, he's in the UK. I'm not sure if he's listening or if he's going to be, but Jim and I have been doing some cool interviews throughout the world, actually. We have some more coming up this week. This week I have some great guests coming up. Tomorrow night, Robert Bobby Martin from Frank Zappa's band will be with me, and that starts at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. And Monday I'll be talking to Bunk Gardner in the morning. I don't know if I'm going to be broadcasting that or if that'll just be a podcast. And my old buddy Pete Hewlett from Billy Joel's band will be on with me. And just a great week. And it's the end of the month already. It's hard to believe, but it's the end of the month. So Ian Underwood will be here this week from Frank Zappa's band. Johnny Podell, Allman Brothers fame. I have Barry Goldberg coming in this week, and Jeff Traeger, and Steve Berlin. Crazy week. Everything won't be on the radio live, but you will be able to visit it all on the podcast station, Not Your Mother's Radio podcast, and that can be found anywhere you find in your podcasts. So anyway, let's get on with the show. Let's have some fun today. I'm going to start off with some comedy stuff and enjoy this one, and I'll be back in just a moment or two, and we'll proceed. Have a great Saturday. I hope you're safe, and here we go.
Some things in life are bad. They can really make you mad. Other things just make you swear and curse. When you're chewing on life's gristle, don't grumble, give a whistle. And this'll help things turn out for the best. And always look on the bright side of life. Always look on the light side of life. If life seems jolly rotten, there's something you've forgotten, and that's to laugh and smile and dance and sing. When you're feeling in the dumps, don't be silly chumps. Just purse your lips and whistle, that's the thing. Hey, always look on the bright side of life. Come on. Always look on the bright side of life. For life is quite absurd, and death's the final word. You must always face the curtain with a bow. Forget about your scene, give the audience a grin. Enjoy it, it's your last chance anyhow. So always look on the bright side of death. Just before you draw your terminal breath. Life's a piece of shit when you look at it. Life's a laugh and death's a joke, it's true. You'll see it's all a show, keep 'em laughing as you go. Just remember that the last laugh is on you. And always look on the bright side of life. saying?
Look on the right side of life.
Nothing will come from nothing, you know what I say? Cheer up, you old bugger. Come on, give us a grin. There you are. See? It's the end of the film. Incidentally, this record's available in the foyer.
Look on the right.
Some of us got to live as well, you know. Alright, it's a lot. Let's get this place up there. You can change this mantle within 3 weeks. What do you think pays for all this rubbish? Never make the money back, you know. I told him. I said to Bernie, I said, they'll never make that money back.
At Arcoiris Weddings, we work with you for your dream wedding and personalize it just for you. We officiate all kinds of weddings including special requests such as theme weddings or sand ceremonies. At Arcoiris, we get to know you and see how you two as a couple interact. We hear your story, how you met, how long you've been together, why you decided to get married, and also what your desires are for your special ceremony. We can plan years in advance or have as little as 2 hours notice for a wedding. We can do full weddings or simple elopements. And we are bilingual. Your wedding can be in English, Spanish, or a combination of the two. During the COVID-19 pandemic, we ask that you keep your guest list limited to no more than 6 people for safety reasons. We are open to having guests via Zoom or other hosting platforms so those that could not be at your wedding can still see it. We can also accommodate outside of normal business hour requests for this, such as mornings or evening. If you planned a big wedding and had to change to a smaller and decide to hold the large wedding once we are able to again, you will receive a discount for your big wedding because you are not just a client, you are giving us the honor of sharing one of life's most important days, your wedding day. Contact Reverend Mauro at 505-917-8308 or at reverendmauro@gmail.com. See our website at https://reverendmauro.wixsite.com/arcoirisweddings, or follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And congratulations on your big day.
And I'd like to thank Arcos Weddings for being a sponsor for our show. And we need to, make sure that we visit their website and that we call them if we have anything coming up, any type of wedding, same-sex weddings, different, denominations, interfaith, whatever. So anyway, just getting my footing here today again, like I'm falling, it was a tough night, and getting my act together as we're online, so it'll be a fun day. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm apologizing now. Also, I'd like to remind everybody that tomorrow morning, I don't know if you missed today's show, but DJ Jazzy Cat is on 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 9 a.m. She does a great job. It's like one of the only shows that I listen to when I'm not listening to myself. I love myself, so if I'm not listening to me, I'm listening to Kath. So make sure you tune in tomorrow on the TTT Radio Network. And we're going to keep the comedy thing going for a bit. This one is Woody Allen, and hope you laugh.
I have never in my life had difficulty with the cops. I had difficulty with the cops. It's not. No, actually, I didn't have difficulty with the cops. I was once sitting home in my house, and a lot of cars pulled up around the house. They shined in searchlights. And I heard a voice over a loudspeaker say, "We have your house surrounded. This is the New York Public Library." They wanted their books back, and the little librarian was lobbing grenades over the house, Came out with my hands up, kicking the book ahead of me. They took me down to the main branch on 5th Avenue in New York, and they took away my glasses for a year. And I was thinking, when I lived in my apartment in the brownstone building in New York, we were constantly getting robbed all the time. It was a very big feature of the neighborhood, guys would break in and steal, and my apartment was robbed about 4 times in 2 years. It really got to be a bad thing. And I didn't know what to do about it. So finally I put on my door a little blue and white sticker that said, "We gave." I figured that would end it brilliantly, but it didn't, because the man in my building, Mr. Russo, was held up late at night. 2 very big guys got him with a bottle and a stick in the lobby, and they wanted all his cash. And Russo, like a jerk, tried to sign for it for tax purposes, whatever it is, you know. They hit him a tremendous shot across the frontal lobe, you know, real smack in the head, and he fell to the lobby in a fetal position, you know. He lay there until his lease ran out, you know. He's never been the same since the smack in the head, you know. He smiles a lot now. He laughs out of context occasionally, you know. It's not as perceptive as the average tree stump, you know. And everybody in the building panicked. They said that I'm small and I should go and build myself up. In case I get into trouble, I could defend myself. So I went to Vic Tanny's. This was a long time ago. I went for 3 weeks. And I lifted and I bent and I squatted. Nothing happened to me at all. You know, nothing grew or anything. And I figured it's ridiculous. Why don't I forget about it and give Vic Tanny the cash and ask him if he'll walk me home nights, okay? However, there is a kid in my building, a little odd kid named Leon, and Leon takes karate lessons. And Leon is always walking around with his hand cocked at a right angle like this, you know? And everyone said that I should learn judo because I'd be an animal if I knew it. But judo to me has always been a thing of the bigger your opponent is, the bigger the beating he's going to give you, you know? And then my good friends told me in the back of Esquire magazine, you can send away for a fountain pen that shoots tear gas. It's a real fountain pen, and it secretes a gaseous billow, you know, a really great pen, $7.50. I send away, comes in the mail 2 weeks later in a plain brown wrapper, you know. And I unscrew it, I put in the tear gas cartridges, and I clip it in my breast pocket, you know, and I go out. A long time ago, this was, some friends in my neighborhood had a surprise autopsy, and I'm invited for the evening, you know? I'm coming home by myself, 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's pitch black, and I'm all alone, and standing in my lobby is a Neanderthal man. With the eyebrow ridges, you know, and the hairy knuckles like this, you know. He had just learned to walk erect that morning, I think. Came right to my house in search of the secret of fire, you know. A tree swinger in the lobby at 2 o'clock in the morning. A mouth breather looking at me like, you know. I took my watch out and I dangled it in front of him, you know, because they're mollified by shiny objects sometimes. You know? He ate it. It's really under pressure, and I backed off and I pulled out my tear gas pen and I pressed the trigger, and some ink trickled on my shirt, you know. I made a mental note to call Esquire and tell them, because I'm standing in the lobby, 2 o'clock in the morning, you know, with the product of a broken home, you know. I had a fountain pen in my hand there. I tried writing on him with it, you know. He came for me and he started to tap dance on my windpipe. So very quickly I lapsed into the old Navajo Indian trick of screaming and begging. I get into an amazing amount of physical encounters for someone my size. Really, about 13 weeks ago, I had my shoes shined against my will. Tremendous shoe shine, boy. He said to me, "I'm shining your shoes." "Yes, you are," I said. He did give me an excellent shine, I might add. But they were suede shoes, and
and my time was running wild, a million dead-end streets, and every time I thought I'd got it made, it seemed the taste was not so sweet. So I turned myself to face me, but I've never caught a glimpse of how the others must see the faker. I'm much too fast to take that test. Changes. Turn and face the strain. Changes. Don't wanna be a richer man. Changes. Turn and face the strain. Changes. There's gonna have to be a different man. Time may change me, but I can't trace time. watch the ripples change their size, but never leave the stream of warm and permanent sand. So the days float through my eyes, but still the days seem the same. And these children that you spit on as they try to change their worlds are immune to your consultations. They're quite aware of what they're going through. Changes. Turn and face the strange. Changes. Don't tell them to grow up out of it. Changes. Turn and face the strange. Changes. Where's your shame? You've left us up to our next event. Time may change me, but you can't twist time. Strange fascination, fascinating me. Our changes are taking the pace I'm going through. Changes. Turn and face the strange. Changes. Oh, look out, you rock and rollers. Changes. Turn and face the strange. Changes. Pretty soon now you're gonna get older. Time may change me, but I can't trace time. I said that time may change me, but I can't trace time. You've done it all. You've broken every code. Pulled the rebel to the floor. You spoke the game, no matter what you say. But only metal, what a bore. Blue eyes, blue eyes. How can you tell so many lies? Come up to see me, make me smile. I'll do what you want, running wild. There's nothing left, all gone and run away. Maybe you'll tarry for a while. It's just a test, a game for us to play. Win or lose, it's hard to smile. Resist, resist. It's from yourself, you have to hide. Oh, come up and see me to make me smile. I'll do what you want, running wild. There ain't no more. You've taken everything from my belief in Mother Earth. Can you ignore my faith in everything? 'Cause I know what faith is and what it's worth. Away, away. And don't say maybe you'll try.
Okay, that's one of my favorites. Steve Harley and Cockney Rebel, Make Me Smile. Prior to that, we heard David Bowie, Changes, and that's a classic. Great tune. I know DJ Jazzy Cat is out there listening. I know she's a Monkees fan. I'm going to play this is a new Monkees tune. It's not that new now, but it's probably from the last album that they did. It's predominantly Mickey Dolenz and Mike Nesmith, with some really cool alternate rockers who produced it, wrote some of the music for them. Really Monkey fans. This one's called Me and Magdalena. Beautiful song. And that was Me and Magdalena, the Monkees. That tune was written by Ben Gibbard, who is the lead singer in the band Death Cab for Cutie. And Death Cab for Cutie is a pretty big old band. Does anybody know where that where the title of the band came from? I do, if you don't. It came from a song by the Bonzo Dog Doodah Band. And the Bonzos were a great English, kind of sarcastic, funny, humorous. They were just really out there. They were a great act. And this is the song it came from, Death Cab for Cutie.
That night cutie called a cab. She left her east side room so drab. She went out on the town, knowing it will make her lover frown.
Death cab for cutie. Death cab for cutie.
Someone's gonna make you pay your fare. The cab was racing through the night. His eyes in the mirror keeping cutie in sight. When he saw cutie, it gave him a thrill. Don't you know, baby, curves can kill.
Death cab for cutie. Death cab for cutie.
Someone's gonna make you pay your fare. Cutie, don't you play with fate. Don't you leave your lover alone. If you go out on this date, his heart will turn to stone. Bad girl, cutie, what have you done?
Baby, don't do it.
Slipping, sliding down a highway 31. The traffic lights changed from green to red. They tried to solve, but they both wound up dead.
Death cab for cutie. Death cab for cutie.
Someone's gonna make you pay your fare. Someone's gonna make you pay your fare. Someone's gonna make you pay your fare.
And that was the tune Death Cab for Cuties from the Bonzos. And here's a little trivia question. In Magical Mystery Tour, the Beatles go to a nightclub, kind of like an LSD enhanced theme. And there's a band playing on stage, and that band was the Bonzo Dog Doodah Band. And, if you ever asked on Jeopardy who was the band in Magical Mystery Tour other than the Beatles, that's the answer, the Bonzo Dog Band. Okay, I'm going to get some theme music started now because we're getting a phone call from Mauro in a few minutes. And if you guys don't know, Mauro was, he's an attorney, but he was one of the leading attorneys during the AIDS epidemic in Washington when AIDS was really at its height. And he helped tons and tons and tons of AIDS victims get their lives in order before the inevitable. So I'm going to play a little something for Mauro while he's getting ready to get on board with us. So here we go. Okay, and here he is, Mauro. Good morning.
Good morning. I hope you're doing well. I'm tired, but I'm doing well.
Yeah. How's your pup doing?
Just got home from... Pup's doing okay. The vet is so busy. They had just taken in 2 emergencies when I was there that they just came out and said, "Can we keep her until we get her done?" And I said, "Sure."
Wow.
So that's okay because we're cleaning the house and it just gets her out of the way.
Yeah. Take advantage
We're
of that
hoping
time.
this is exactly. We're hoping this is the last bandage change on her leg.
Yeah. Well.
So
will the vet take my 2 grandkids for a couple of hours?
Put them in furry costumes.
Yeah, really. Yeah. That may work.
That would probably work.
Yeah. Yeah. So, how was your week? Last week you were a little busy too with the dog, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're always a little busy. I'm after the show today. I'm headed over to our car shop because we're working on our Jeep, trying to get it. It's a '72 CJ5, and we're making it into a little monster Jeep that's going to be kind of our demo vehicle for our car shop called Madness Motors.
Oh, cool.
And then I've had some weddings, and I have a wedding tomorrow afternoon, so that'll be fun. And then next weekend, have a wedding in Santa Fe, and then we're going to leave for Eagle Nest as soon as the wedding's over. So that'll be fun, too.
Oh, good. So you have some fun stuff coming up.
Because it's Labor Day weekend, it's going to be a 3-day weekend. So
Yeah,
we're going up on Saturday and coming back Monday.
Uh-huh. Cool. I'm actually doing another one of those block parties next week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
the Friday night?
We're going to do it Saturday night. It's one of those social distancing. Everybody stays in their driveway. And
oh, yeah.
Yeah, like we did it for July 4th, and everybody pulled their grills out. And when I say grills, I mean barbecue grills, not these teeth grills.
Right.
we're older than you hip kids. Yeah, so anyway, we everybody takes out their barbecues, and they contact me. They text me if there's any requests or anything, and we just kind of have a party. So it's pretty neat.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it worked out well last time. So they asked if we would do it again for them. So yeah. So
maybe we'll have you over to our neighborhood because we're on a short little block that runs between Constitution and San Pedro, right across the street from ABC Bakery.
Oh, yeah.
So that little block, I think we could get, there's 3 houses on one side and there's about 9 houses on the other side, depending on which side of the curve we're on. And I think we can get all our neighbors to do the same thing, just come out and, have a little block party. It could be fun.
If you want to do it, I'll be happy to help you guys out. I have all the equipment.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good to
Cool.
go. Yeah, I'm good to go.
Yeah, I'll see if I can do a weekend in September.
Yeah, sounds good. So what's happening? Everything quiet out there?
No, unfortunately. Another casualty of...
Let me just interrupt real quick. You know the...
Sure.
What's the name? Of the range, the other.
Oh, Matt Gregory.
Yeah, but Matt's other restaurant closed down. You know that?
Which one?
The what the heck was it called? The one in Bernalillo.
Oh, the Freight House?
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
We're just losing so much stuff right now. It sucks.
Yeah.
The other one that just closed. Yeah, Matt's a member of the LGBTQ community and has been,
Matt was
very helpful to the
he was on with us.
Yeah,
he was on with us about 2-3 weeks ago, and
yep, that's right.
Yeah, and it was it was a great restaurant. It really was. It was really a nice place.
Yeah, it was. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
I hope that doesn't happen to Standard Diner. I know he's already closed the Range on the Knoll,
right
near University, and that was kind of where we hung out. We met there for the chamber. We'd have board meetings there.
Right.
So it was a little sad that it's gone now.
Yeah.
And I wish Matt the best. I'm really sorry the Freight House closed.
Yeah.
Last night, I just spaced his name. He was the one that played Black Panther.
Oh, yes.
He passed away from colon cancer.
Yeah, colon cancer.
Boswick? Yeah. Boswick is his last name.
Yeah.
But, so I know how many gay men were really upset about that because he was one of the most handsome men on the planet. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
And I have so many friends that were absolutely in love with him, and so it's a sad day.
I know.
Here in Albuquerque, it's an even more sad week because one of our long-standing institutions for 38 years, the Social Club, has announced they're not reopening ever.
I read that, yeah.
So the Albuquerque Social Club was on Central and Nob Hill, and it's been a mainstay It's been several things. The first thing it was Albuquerque National Bank, believe it or not, in the 1950s, and then when they moved the office to Washington and Central, that became a bar. And there actually still is a vault in the building. It's been through many, many iterations. I've had all kinds of fun there.
Right.
I met 2 different boyfriends there. One named Sean, who I met in 1997, I think.
Uh-huh.
And we were boyfriends for a while. And then that's where I met Andy.
Oh, really?
On my 58th birthday. Yeah, I was sitting there, had a 21-year-old kid on my lap, and Andy walks up, looks down at me, and says, "I've been told I should meet you." And I look up and see those sparkly blue eyes and said, yes, you should definitely meet me.
Wow.
So, yeah, so it's very sad for me that the social club is closing. It's been a home for so many people. It's been a safe place for so many people.
Wow. Wow.
It's been a mainstay of our community for so long.
Wow.
And,
Did I ever tell you how I met Laura?
No.
Rope and tape. I had to tape her mouth shut and tie her up and throw her in my trunk. No, I'm just fooling. No. She saw me and she said, "Hey, you behind the bushes, what are you looking at?" Yeah, I got thousands of them. Actually, I took Laura out for the first time. It was a midnight movie for Halloween. And it was,
fun.
Yeah, midnight show. And I was only, I was little. I was about 15. I was 15.
Wow.
Laura was 16. I always liked older women. And, we kind of been together ever since, on and off. Since we're married, it's been on. But when we were younger, we had a little split, when I was a teenager, but once we're married, we were married the whole time.
Right.
Yeah, so anyway, I always tell people that they love that.
Wow.
Yeah, "Hey, you behind the bushes." That one always gets a laugh.
And then you hear, "Put that away."
Yeah. You always tell people I got a camera for my birthday, and that's my new nickname. "Hey, you behind the bushes." So
it's perfect.
Yeah.
I had my 50th birthday party at the social club in 2008, the year before I met Andy.
Uh-huh.
And it was a big event. We had a singer named Pamela Stanley who had several hits in the 80s, dance hits. My favorite one was "Coming Out of Hiding." It was kind of my theme song in 1984 because I was getting out of a relationship.
Yeah.
I was getting out of my cast on my leg. And I was graduating from law school, so I was definitely coming out of hiding.
Wow.
And I loved the song, and I got to meet Pamela in Fort Lauderdale. I went on a date with a guy. We went to a really nice restaurant at a hotel in Fort Lauderdale, and she was the entertainment. She was singing.
Cool.
So we started talking, and we got to be good friends. So when I was producing Mr. Florida Leather contest, I would have her entertain, and the first one we did was in November of 2001, just a couple months after 9/11.
Right.
So she came out. I had the guys, all the contestants, I had them in blue jeans, no shirts, and an American flag scarf around their neck.
Uh-huh.
And they carried her in while she was singing "Proud to Be an American." It was amazing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So then I had her. We were out here for my 50th birthday party, and we had people saying, like, "Can I talk to her?" I'm like, "Of course you can. She's really friendly."
Right.
I had one guy bring his album of hers in from 1982, 1983, and say, "Do you think she'll sign it?" And I'm like, "Of course she'll sign it."
Yeah.
That was a really special event for me, my 50th. It was a big one.
Beautiful.
So there's been so many times that we've had so much fun at the social club, and I'm very, very sorry they're closed.
Yeah.
It's, I hope somebody can step forward and possibly rescue it because it's been such a long-standing institution in the community. It feels like our community's falling apart.
The world's falling apart. You want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not. I don't know if you consider it funny. My 50th birthday, I was surrounded by gay people too. Really. I just moved to Albuquerque. I was managing the Journal Pavilion. I had just gotten out here a few months earlier, and my office, my assistant manager was gay, a lesbian, and some of our best friends were gay, mostly lesbians, and Laura threw little party for me. So I really didn't know anybody other than the people I was surrounded with, at work and everything. And everybody happened to be gay. And it was, I was sitting there thinking about how great life was that, I just got here from New York, and I just, it was like a whole new world opening up. I knew a ton of gay people back east, in the entertainment world. But here it was kind of like everybody was in the house, everybody was mingling with the kids, with this, with that. And it just it was like a preview of what was to come, It was pretty neat.
Right.
Yeah, and I really kind of appreciated that. And, that's funny. But if you don't want me asking, if you don't want to answer, you don't have to answer. But you were never involved with women.
I was. When I was in high school, I had a girlfriend, and we were together all through high school.
Oh, okay.
And then for about a year and a half afterwards, we were together for my freshman year, although I was in Las Cruces.
Right.
She would come down, or I would come back home, and we'd visit. And then she split up with me, and it just kind of went from there. I had another girlfriend in college.
Right.
I moved to D.C. for law school. There was a woman that lived next door and really liked me, and we went on a couple of dates, but she was confused as to why we never did anything.
Right.
And then one day, went to a party with law school classmates, and there was a guy named Jeff there, and we thought he was boyfriend of a woman named, I just spaced her name.
Yeah.
Let's go with Pam for the moment.
Yeah.
Anyway, she was, Sue. Sue was her name.
Okay.
Anyway, we went to a Halloween party, everybody was there, and apparently Jeff got very drunk.
Yeah.
And was having a little bit of trouble walking. So I was closest, and Sue said, will you help me get him out to the car? So got him out to the car, and Sue's like, let's just put him in the back seat so we can lay down. I said, okay. So I opened the back door, and I was kind of laying him down on the seat, and he pulled me down with him and started kissing me. And I just sort of freaked out. I'm like, Jeff, we're in front of your girlfriend. Stop. And she's like, she's not my girlfriend. And I'm like, what?
Oh, wow.
So about a week later, I invited him to come over to study, quote unquote, and, since we were in law school. And it just kind of went from there. So we were partners for 2 years during law school. And after that, I was like, okay, I'm not going to hide who I am anymore. I'm in love with this person, and that's how my life's going to go.
Okay, so yeah, that's a cool too. It's a nice story. I mean, it worked out. It worked out great. So
yeah.
It
was interesting because it was, the early '80s, and people were not out the way they are now at all.
Yeah.
Even in D.C., I mean, there was a big, large, openly gay community, and they were already talking about AIDS and stuff. And they're like, well, we're monogamous. We don't have to worry about that. So we didn't really think about it that much until I had a roommate that moved in, didn't work, was sick a lot. I take him to the doctor, and finally I said, hey, what's going on? Tell me. So he said, can I trust you? Because I'm afraid. And I said, why? He goes, because I have AIDS. And, this was like 1984.
Right.
So we still didn't know much about HIV. And he said, I'm afraid I got kicked out of my last place for having HIV. And I'm afraid that if everybody knows, you guys will kick me out too. And I didn't know what to do. So I just hugged him.
Right.
And he said, that's absolutely the best thing you could have done for me. Because, everybody's afraid to touch me and everything.
Wow.
So occasionally I just sleep with him just to keep him company.
Yeah.
Because he was so sick. It was not anything ever sexual. It was just, I was there to hold him and keep him company. Take him to the hospital. And my roommates would ask me, what's going on? What's going on? And I felt bad not telling them. At the same time, I told them, you're not in danger. You're not sleeping with them. Well, I didn't really even say that, but I'm thinking they're not sleeping with them. They're not, doing anything else.
Right.
It should be fine. And it was.
Right. Yeah.
He was my first personal experience with HIV. And then I had a boyfriend who was 19, and I was just, I think, 25. And I had moved, he and I dated the whole summer, my last summer of law school. So after my motorcycle accident, I graduated in the summer rather than May with my classmates. So he and I dated that whole summer. And then he announced that he had HIV and he was moving back to Ohio to be with his family. And I heard from him for a while. We kept in contact, and all of a sudden he just disappeared. I'm like, oh my God, I think he died. And I never heard from him again.
Wow.
And then, so that was my two experiences with HIV, and that made me want to do more. So I started volunteering at the clinic as an attorney.
Right.
And then they hired me. So, I'd always come home, especially after I came out. Then I'd come home and I'd go out. And I'd go to the social club, or I'd go to Sidewinders.
Yeah.
And, social club was strange because it was a private club, so they could still smoke.
Yeah.
And being part of the leather community, you don't want to wear your leather around smoke, because then you can't get that smell out of it.
I know. Yeah.
So that's why we didn't hold more events at the social club, because of the smoke. People didn't want to go because of that.
Okay.
So our home bar kind of became Sidewinders, but we'd still go to the Soch, and it was a membership club. You had to pay a membership to go in. If somebody was from out of town just visiting, if they showed their driver's license, it was $5. They didn't charge them the whole. I think it was $30 to have a membership.
Right.
So, but I just wanted, this is kind of my homage to the social club, because it has been an important part of my life and so many other people's lives.
Sure.
So many. They have they started the weekly drag shows on Saturday nights. It became a thing where people paid for it. They'd go $10 sitting or $5 standing. They'd go, they watch shows every weekend, they'd be entertained. We saw some amazing shows and some amazing performers. Right. It was just such a wonderful experience to go. I never liked the smoke, but, you just kind of put up with it because it was fun. You had a good time.
Yeah.
I always had fun there. I always, was quote-unquote lucky when I went there. Because I was basically an out-of-towner at that point. So I was sort of like new meat, so to speak.
Yes. Yeah.
So I was popular at times, and it was fun.
Cool.
That's when I met my old boyfriend, Sean. We started dating. He was actually one of the DJs there. And I remember they put out a newsletter, and it was talking about I think it said something like, what out-of-towner has snagged the social club's DJ, and what are they going to do and stuff. So it was fun.
Well, and it's funny. Well, I keep saying funny because I don't know what else word to use. But back in the early 70s, so I'm older than you. I had a really, really good friend who like really, really inseparable, and we were kids, 15, 16, and I was up in his house one day, and he gives me I don't know if you remember the paper, The Village Voice.
Oh yeah.
And there was an ad in there for it was a gay ad that he's looking for a boyfriend, somebody to go out with, and blah blah blah. And I'm reading. I said, yeah. He says, that's me. I said, no. I said, okay. Everybody had it. You didn't use your real name. Everybody had like a nickname or something. And
right.
And I knew, he didn't have to tell me he was gay, but he never, he never came out and said it. But he was very, you could tell that he wasn't, he wasn't into women, and he was very, very soft-spoken, and you knew that he wasn't really heterosexual. And back in the early '70s, it was a different planet than even the early '80s.
Definitely. Stonewall was a couple years old, 2 or 3 years old at that point, and people were still starting to have movements,
Yeah.
I mean, Albuquerque's first pride was 1976, and I am happy to say that my girlfriend in high school then marched in the parade.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't really a parade; it was a bunch of people walking down Central, getting yelled at and throwing things at. There's a terrific history of Albuquerque Pride and early Albuquerque history by Dr. P.J. Cedillo. He was a longtime president of Pride, and he just retired as a professor at New Mexico Highlands University. So he and his partner Tony, they've been very, very active in the gay community for a long, long time. They still do a lot of stuff. Tony and PJ are the ones who put on Los Ranchos Pride, the small little fun country fair event in Los Ranchos. And PJ wrote this whole wonderful book about the history of Albuquerque Pride, and it's got some amazing history of our community in there.
Yeah.
So, the social club became the social club, if I remember correctly, around 1978. I'm trying to remember the year. I mean, I know it's 38 years old, so I can't do math.
Well, this guy said to me at the time, he said, "I hope this doesn't affect our friendship." And I said to him, "No, well, I don't have a problem with it." And he said, "Okay, cool." And we stayed friends, and he had an awful life. He not too long after that, he got busted for dealing coke. He had a gram of coke. He had a gram of coke on him, and I don't know if you remember this, but Nelson Rockefeller, as the VP, had a law out that if you got caught with drugs, you got a 1-2 life sentence. They never told you what your sentence was. I don't know if you remember that. The Rockefeller.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I do remember that.
So this kid is 18, 19 years old, very pretty, very, and he's tossed into Sing Sing at 18.
Wow.
And he never came out the same. He was just, when he got out, he was a wreck. I used to go visit him up there with Laura a lot, and we'd drive up to Sing Sing, and he was in Dannemora, he was in Attica, all the fine places. And and he just never came out. He never came out.
Was he a person of color or was he white?
I'm sorry.
Was he a person of color or was he white?
No, he was white, and very well to do, and his parents did whatever they could to help him out. And his father was a vice president of Macy's when Macy's was really at its peak. So
wow,
they were comfortable and. Thousands and thousands of dollars into trying to help this kid out, and he went for psychiatric care prior to going in because they knew if they couldn't keep him out, he was in for a hell of a time. And
right,
and he just came out a broken man, and he just he passed away very young. And I'm still in touch with his sister every now and then, but. Greatest kid in the world. We had some great times together and everything else. Just over like a gram of coke just screwed his life up forever.
That's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And a gram, he's not selling it; he's using it. Come on.
Yeah. But back in the early '70s, you were Superfly with a gram of coke. They figured you were
exactly.
In fact, I left his house one day, and I wasn't. I'm not saying I was an angel, but I got pulled over by a police guy on a motorcycle. And I left his house, and this was pre cell phones. The guy pulls me over and he pulls my car apart, and he gave me 7 tickets.
Wow!
Dirty windshield. I had something hanging on my window. The kind of any stupid thing he could. And it was in the middle of the summer, and he was a motorcycle cop, and he had a chin strap, helmet on, and a leather, all in leather. And I said to him, he's yelling at me and stuff, and he's taking things out of my car. And I said to him, you'd probably be a lot happier if you took that chin strap off, and plus I'd be able to hear you a lot clearer. Oh, well, that's another ticket. He gave me another ticket. I had hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of tickets. And
what was that ticket for?
I don't know. There wasn't anything I said to him. It was just stuff that he found in the car. I had something hanging on my window, on my rear view mirror. And he's pulled the car apart. My tires weren't whatever. The pressure, one tire was lower than the others. The stupidest tickets in the world. And
wow!
I got to work. I was working for a bank at the time, and I called my buddy up and he said, "Listen, you better watch out because I left your house and I got whatever." And the next day they came and picked him up.
Dang! So they were definitely watching him.
Yeah. And it's
what's that kind of police target people. You have to just say that flat out. Yeah. Police target people. And I know people who've left Social Club or Sidewinders and been pulled over immediately, and done had drink tests done on them. Oh. A friend of mine, he's half black, and he has a really beautiful Jaguar. So he left the Social Club. He's driving down Central, which you should never do. It's, now it doesn't matter. Sidewinders isn't there anymore. But he passed Wyoming on Central, was going west, and got pulled over by a cop. And this was just a year and a half ago. And the first thing the cop said to him is, "Whose car is this?" Assuming that a black man could not have a Jaguar that nice.
Yeah.
It was just so friggin' obnoxious. We had another one of my instructors at the Instituto de Cervantes, she's a Spanish citizen. I mean, she's here to teach. And she's a wonderful woman. She got pulled over on I-25 when she was headed to work one morning, and the cop was just absolutely rude to her. He was yelling at her, and "You damn Mexicans, I hate you, and I wish you'd go home." Wow. And she said, "I'm not Mexican, I'm Spanish." And she gave him her passport. And, of course, she's not a diplomat, so she didn't have diplomatic immunity. But as soon as he saw that, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, and he changed his tune.
Wow.
You know, I mean, the prejudice that's out there.
Yeah, I was living...
I've been strip searched in Texas. I was driving back to Florida and headed to D.C. first, and it was January, so it was really cold. I had my little schnauzer who was deaf and blind and the dog with, my little doggy in the car with me. And I get into Texas, and about 10 miles into Texas, this car pulls up behind me and then follows me for 15 miles. And I'm literally on the phone calling 911 saying there's somebody following me. And then he puts his lights on and pulls me over. Wow. And gave me a BS excuse. Well, I couldn't see. I just bought the car that day, so I had a temp tag. He goes, well, I couldn't see a license plate. I said, you mean like the temp tag in the window? He was an idiot. He was a Texas, he was a county sheriff is what he was. And so he insisted, because I was Latino, that I had to have drugs in the car. He goes, this is exactly the setup when you're going to be taking drugs across the country. We have a dog, and I was like, my dog is blind and deaf.
Yeah.
He's a little schnauzer. He's not going to hurt anyone.
Right.
So this guy made me stand on the side of the road, strip search me, and it was 18 degrees out in January.
Jeez.
All for, driving while Latino. And then a state cop pulled up, and they both, were like searching the car, and they finally had me sit in the back of the police car because it was so cold. I'm sitting there naked, so I'm freezing. Yeah. So they put me in the back of the car, and I could hear them. They were talking, and I could hear from their radios what they were saying. And I had a little boombox because it was a '99 BMW, and it didn't have a CD player. It had a cassette player.
Right.
So I had a boombox, and he goes, I heard one of the cops say, well, this boombox really makes me suspicious. There's got to be something in it. So I opened the door, and I yelled out, I said, the boombox is because I have CDs and the car has a cassette player. Check it out.
Yeah.
He said, if you want to take the boombox apart, go ahead. So they kind of looked at each other, and I just left it. And, after 2.5 hours, they finally let me go. So I wasted 2.5 hours sitting on the side of the road. Wow. And then they say, well, thank you for your cooperation. Well, I'm thinking to myself, what the hell am I going to do? You could have just disappeared me. You know?
Yeah. I used to live in Albuquerque before I came out here to Rio Rancho, and I forgot the name of the area we lived in. I'm terrible with that stuff. But anyway, there was a strip of 2 or 3 blocks where the speed limit was 15. And you know how hard it is to drive 15 miles an hour?
That's ridiculous.
I mean, yeah. And so anyway, every Saturday I'd be going up to the Journal Pavilion, and a cop pulls me over, and he gives me a warning. And, so, anyway, I left. The following week, I drive by, and he pulls me over again, the same cop. And, you think I'd learn, but, I'm an idiot. So, I go back to work. He gives me a warning. The third week, he pulls me over, and he says to me, what's the problem? I said, the problem is that sign still says 15. And we were laughing and carrying on. But if I was a man of color, I bet you I would have been locked up.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Anything?
Yeah, I was talking to Laura about that the other night. I said, do you know how, I never realized it. But, if I was a kid, if I was, a person of color, the guy wouldn't have let me go probably the first time. I'm up to my third and fourth time, and we're laughing about it, and I'm, whatever. And, there definitely is a separation of, of justice out there.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Big time. It's ridiculous. They target people. I mean, can you imagine a 17-year-old black kid walking around Kenosha, Wisconsin with an AR-15?
Yeah.
What do you think the police would do?
Yeah.
But yet we had a white kid who ended up shooting people.
Yeah.
And they didn't even pay attention to him. And after he shot him, he went home and went to sleep.
They gave him a bottle of water and sent him home.
Yeah. Yeah. It's friggin' nuts. I've not experienced... In New Mexico, I haven't experienced a whole bunch of discrimination for either being Latino or gay. And so, I consider myself really glad and really lucky to be living there.
Yeah.
But I feel so sorry for people in other places like Texas or Alabama or Mississippi, where no matter what, you're an outsider and you're always going to be an outsider.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't want you there.
Yeah. I spent like 6 months in Alabama not too long ago. I was setting up an account for the company I was working for, and it was in Huntsville. And there definitely is. It's like the old South, It's
yep.
It's the good old boys, and I used to freak out because I would go. I was there alone. Laura was in New Mexico. I was there. I was coming home on every couple of weekends, and I'd be out alone having dinner, and people would sit down at the table and hold hands and give out a good old prayer before every meal, And I wasn't used to that, especially coming from New York. You don't do that in New York. And
no.
And one, I'm in. I was running the place. I was, I was the boss. And one of my workers comes up to me one day, and a Caucasian girl, and she says to me, "You're not Christian, are you?" And I said, "Uh-oh, here we go." I said, "Well, first of all, we don't ask that question. That's not, that's not work related, and I'm not going to be answering." I said, "I don't have to answer that question, but I said, we're all, we all believe in what we believe, and if, as long as I'm not doing anything to offend anybody, it's my business, not yours." And she spread all kinds of crap around the place that I'm not Christian, and they don't know what I am, but I'm not Christian. And it was and this wasn't 50, 60 years ago. This was 7, 8 years ago.
Right.
And the South is the South. It's really still not pretty down there. She came from Mississippi to help out in Alabama, so I was really in trouble.
Wow. Andy didn't believe me. Being from Seattle, he grew up in a bubble, in a liberal bubble, basically.
Yeah.
So he didn't believe me about the South until we were going through it. And we'd stopped in Mississippi. We were in New Orleans, had a lot of fun. We stopped in Mississippi to get gas. And Andy just casually reached for my hand, and I pushed it away. And he goes, "What? You've never done that before. You're always so out and proud and stuff."
Yeah.
I said, "See that truck sitting there with the rednecks in it and the gun rack?
Yeah.
I don't want to have any trouble. I just want to get the hell out of here."
Sad, isn't it?
And then the Georgia-Florida line, there was a gas station, a giant truck stop place that had the largest flag I've ever seen, and it was a Confederate flag.
Yeah.
Not the U.S. flag, it was the Confederate flag.
Yep.
And, just nuts.
Even Florida, people think Florida is the liberal, Florida's very redneck unless you're down south, unless you're in the Lauderdale area. If not, it's all the good old boys, it really is.
Yeah, and even then, Fort Lauderdale, which is a gay mecca, had an anti-gay mayor.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I'm like, how can you have an anti-gay mayor in Fort Lauderdale?
Right.
So it was all crazy.
Yeah, and it's nuts. It's just nuts out there. So did you watch the Trump show this week?
No, I just couldn't stomach it. I heard parts of it, and Andy listened to some of it on MSNBC, and the parts I heard is I just can't believe the bullshit that's spewing out of these people's mouths.
No.
They have so denigrated themselves for this narcissistic idiot that's occupying the White House. I have never, and I will not ever use the word president for him, because he's not. No. He's a wannabe dictator, and that's all he is.
And it's funny because he laid out he laid his plans out in front of everybody, and pretty much that he wants his daughter to be the president after him.
Right.
I think he's aiming for her to be the first woman president, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's trying to hold on to his title just for just for that, just so she has 4 more years to get ready. But
I'm sure
it was like the it was like it was like a monarchy,
Yep. Exactly.
The whole family standing up there with a big banner that says Trump, the fireworks going off Trump. Even if
it's North Korea.
Even if you're for him, okay, and I don't know, that's your business, not nobody else's. But does anybody see anything wrong with that? That's not the way we're supposed to be doing things here.
Yeah, and all the violations of the Hatch Act and the Secretary of State calling in from a foreign trip
Yeah.
To do something that was all, I mean, using the White House, using Marines, all of that was just such a violation of American values that, and norms and laws that.
Yes, I mean, even if you
can't see them as a crime family, you're an idiot.
Yeah, even if you believe in what he's preaching and everything else, if you're an American, how do you how do you stand for that stuff? It's just
and these people have the nerve to call themselves patriots. That's what kills me.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's that's debatable, but anyway.
Yeah.
So, any good news out there? Anything going on in the community?
The good news is that, Sidewinders hopefully will be able to survive now because they got their liquor license and they can open the bar at least partially, because it is a restaurant.
Right.
So that's, FX is sort of a gay bar. It's not, as much of a gay bar as it started out to be.
Right.
It's just a dance club now. So we actually only have one bar now with Sidewinders.
Right.
And for a city the size of Albuquerque, I think that's tragic. But I'm glad they're still open. I'm hoping somebody can, find the resources to reopen the social club, because I think that'd be an amazing service for the community.
Yes.
And, because it's functioned as a community center, because there was no place else to go. We had a community center, and it closed back in the 90s.
Uh-huh.
We had a gay bookstore called Sisters and Brothers, and it was a wonderful store. I got the best T-shirts that I couldn't find anybody else, anywhere else.
Really?
DC or anything. I don't know where they got them, but they were amazing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I have a T-shirt that has Batman standing up and holding Robin in his arms.
Oh, cool.
And I'm like, no, this is not right. I'm pretty sure Robin's the dominant one.
Well, you don't know why you don't know why he got the name Batman.
Why?
I don't know. I'm just saying, you don't know where the name came from.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe like we batted around. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. You don't know what's in those tights.
Exactly. What you got under there?
Yeah, really, Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
it's pretty funny.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow. But the good news is, cases in New Mexico of COVID are coming down.
Yeah.
Things are slowly reopening. If we can keep our surrounding states from flooding us again, I think we'll be doing okay.
Right.
Exactly what I predicted was going to happen happened, because we saw especially the Texans in Ruidoso and then in Red River,
yes,
and Eagle Nest, not wearing masks. And I'm like, there's going to be an increase in cases up here, and there was in both cities, in Ruidoso and also in Eagle Nest and Red River.
Right.
So hopefully that's dying out completely. I don't know how many cases there were yesterday. I think I saw like Wednesday or Thursday. We only had 76 new cases,
right?
Which is great.
Yeah, it is.
It's falling pretty rapidly. So, in my mind, that's good news for the whole community as well as the LGBTQ community.
Now, do you think you think
we had small businesses? They're all being hurt.
Are we going to get a bounce back in the fall?
I'm afraid of that. I'm really afraid of that.
Yeah.
They're touting this plasma stuff as a good treatment, and it helps maybe 1 or 2% of people.
Yeah, I know.
So,
it's definitely not.
It's not.
Those guys got fired this week, didn't they? The guys who came out and pushed the plasma thing. They got let go.
Did they? I didn't know that.
I believe they got let go from the CDC this week.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, because the guy started backpedaling last week. He said, it's not as good as, blah, blah, blah. He might have spoken too soon and whatever. And I think a couple of days after that, they let him go, him and another guy.
Dang.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
I don't know. All these agencies, his thing is loyalty to him. He doesn't give a shit about anything else except your loyalty to him. And if he feels like you're betraying him in some way, you're gone.
There were a handful of people wearing masks at the at his convention the other night. Nobody wore masks.
Yeah.
There was maybe a half a dozen people in the audience that had masks on, and his people really think that that they believe his crap, and they believe that this thing is just a hoax, or if it's not a hoax, it's under control, and they're talking about it like it's over. whoever talks, whoever's coming out of the administration, whenever they talk about it, well, it's past. It's not happening anymore. It's a thing of the past.
Yeah.
So
it's miraculously gone away. We don't have to deal with that anymore.
Yeah. Let's not deal with it. It's nothing to deal with. So
it's incredibly sad.
It really is.
So I am seriously hoping, that when Biden wins in November, and we need everybody to get out and vote. We need you out there. We need you encouraging people to vote. If they're not registered, get them registered.
Right.
The statistic in the LGBTQ community is 1 in 5 gay people are not registered to vote. And our lives are at stake. We desperately need to have you get out there and vote against this guy.
It's not,
whether you're for or against Biden,
right?
You have to be against the Orange Menace.
Yeah.
And you should vote for whoever's going to get rid of him, and that should be Biden.
Right. Yep. Did I send you the link to what was it called? The Biden website I was telling you about. Settle for Biden.
Oh,
I'll send you.
I don't think you did.
I'll send you a link to it. It's Settle for Biden, and it kind of explains how Biden may not be the best choice, but he's the only choice right now. And why? Even if you're not a Biden lover, there's enough good in him and enough good in Harris to get us through the next 8 years, whatever, and just to get rid of Trump. I'll send you the link. It's brilliant.
Okay.
And yeah, and send it out to all your people, to all your friends and everything when you get it. Okay?
Will do. The other thing that happened this week was on, the 27th, was 7 years from the day I asked Andy to marry me.
Oh, wow.
And it was during a Dolls show rehearsal. The Dolls were our drag theater troupe up until a couple of years ago. It lasted 20 years.
Yeah.
And, so I was part of the Dolls, and we were rehearsing for what we called the little show that could, almost didn't. We were doing Murder on the Orient Express at the Albuquerque Little Theater. Opening day, got a call from Agatha Christie's estate saying, if you do this, we'll sue you. So we had to cancel the show.
Really?
We ended up going to Oxdog Theater and redoing it and rewriting it as Murder on the Rail Runner.
Oh, wow.
So during rehearsals, Andy and I were going to leave for Seattle the next day, and it was the day that the Judge Alan Mallet, ruled that Bernalillo County and this district, which I think included Santa Fe County and some surrounding counties, had to recognize same-sex marriage. That was before the New Mexico Supreme Court ruled on it, and it was going county by county. And that day, I said to Andy, come after rehearsal. We're going to go out and celebrate, because this is, a historic thing for New Mexico. And he's like, okay, I'll come. So at 9 o'clock, we're waiting for him. He hasn't shown up. We're done rehearsing. And so I call him. He goes, I decided to stay home and, just get ready for the trip tomorrow. I said, oh, come on, you got to come. It's a historic day. We got to celebrate. So he's finally reluctantly like, okay. I'm like, God, if he had ruined my surprise, I'd have killed him.
Yeah, really.
So he gets to this. I told him we were done and we were all waiting for him. So he gets to the theater, and we had somebody up front, and they yelled out, Andy's here. So we all jump back up on stage, and Andy comes in looking kind of puzzled and sits down. And so the director says, guys, why don't you do that musical number we've been working on? So they start doing a little dance to go into the chapel and we're gonna get married. So that's going on, and I'm in the background. And so as they're doing their little dance and singing, Andy's sitting in the front row at the Oxdog, and I walk up, I go between the guys that are singing, who will be in drag for the show, but they were just in street clothes because it was rehearsal. So I drop down between them and jump off the stage, and I get in front of Andy on one knee, and he's just kind of staring at me like, what's going on? And I said, will you marry me? And he looks at me and he goes, what? And I said, will you marry me? And he shook his head like, no. At first he was just kind of shaking his head, and all of a sudden he started going the other way, and he goes, yes. And I said, yes? And he goes, yeah. So I said, he said yes. And that's what we ended up putting on our wedding invitations. He said yes, just to confuse people. It was fun.
Oh, cool.
But one of the guys had gotten a little video of it that I had forgotten about, and it popped up in my Facebook feed, remember this 7 years ago. And I'm like, oh, my God, I can't believe this. So I think I sent you the video. I don't know if you saw it or not.
I did. I got it. Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was really fun. The funny part was, if you really listen towards the end, they were talking about it. We did it so quickly. I made my mind up overnight, and I'd actually called Andy's parents and asked for their blessing, which they gave, which was nice. And so I didn't have anything prepared. So what I did, it was really funny. You can hear one of the guys say, like, "Oh my God, he gave him a cock ring." So that was our engagement thing with a cock ring.
Well.
So that was a wonderful thing for us this week.
Yeah, when I got engaged, I took Laura to see Bette Midler on Broadway.
Oh, fun!
You remember the clam on the half shell review?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. I took her to see that night, and that's when I popped the question. And my mother bought a garter belt, and she sewed the ring onto it. The engagement ring.
Oh, wow.
So, I gave it to her, and she looked at it. She thought it was fake. She didn't think it was real. She figured, okay, I guess she's going to give me a ring one of these days. And so she took the garter belt and, she, put it back in the thing. I said, "Aren't you going to put the ring on?" She said, "What?" I said, "That's a real ring, you knucklehead." It was like, that was our thing. Yeah, some friends met us and we went to see the show, and it was pretty neat.
Wow, I love hearing stories about stuff like that.
Yeah.
How people get engaged.
Yeah.
When I'm meeting with a couple to do a wedding, that's the part I like the most. I get all the questions out of the way first. Like, what do you want? Are you going to exchange rings? Are you going to say your own vows? Now let's talk about you guys. How did you meet? What was your first date? And I love listening to these stories. Some people, it's really funny because some people are very embarrassed about meeting online.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't be embarrassed about that. It's 2020. It's how we meet these days, especially these days.
Yeah.
So, some people don't care. Some people don't want me to mention it. It's just funny, but I love the stories. That's how people met each other. So it's always wonderful for me.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, my friend, I have to talk to Mr. Wiley next.
Yes.
And,
say hi to David.
Yeah.
Just got the link.
Yeah, he, first of all, Tabitha didn't show up again today. I spoke to her this morning. She's having a hard go. I don't know what's going on, just finding guests. So, she's going to revamp her end of it. But, everything else is pretty cool. Everything's running really nice and smooth, and the show's getting bigger and bigger. And keep checking out the podcasts. I've been putting them up every week now.
Yes, definitely. I love it.
Okay, my friend. So,
and I'm also proud to be one of the sponsors of the show.
Yes. So. I played your thing earlier. I'm going to play it again now. Wait, here's David now. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Hold on.
I'll say hi to David real quickly and I'll go.
Yeah. Why can I get him? I don't know.
Then I'll go ahead and hang up so that
yes, so I could get a hold of you. That's right. It's your phone if I can't even add him now. Okay.
Okay.
I sent you the link to Biden, so that's there waiting for you. And
just got it.
Yeah, and we'll hook up during the week. And I'm going to play your I'm playing your ad again right now. Your spot. I played it earlier, and so everybody knows how to find you. Okay.
Great, thank you.
Okay, my friend, stay safe and say hi to Andy for me, and we'll hope to meet up soon.
Definitely.
Okay.
Take care.
You too.
Have a great week.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We work with you for your dream wedding and personalize it just for you. We officiate all kinds of weddings including special requests such as theme weddings or sand ceremonies. At Arcoiris, we get to know you and see how you two as a couple interact. We hear your story, how you met, how long you've been together, why you decided to get married, and also what your desires are for your special ceremony. We can plan years in advance or have as little as 2 hours notice for a wedding. We can do full weddings or simple elopements. And we are bilingual. Your wedding can be in English, Spanish, or a combination of the two. During the COVID-19 pandemic, we ask that you keep your guest list limited to no more than 6 people for safety reasons. We are open to having guests via Zoom or other hosting platforms so those that could not be at your wedding can still see it. We can also accommodate outside of normal business hour requests for this, such as mornings or evening. If you planned a big wedding and had to change to a smaller and decide to hold the large wedding once we are able to again, you will receive a discount for your big wedding because you are not just a client, you are giving us the honor of sharing one of life's most important days, your wedding day. Contact Reverend Mauro at 505-917-8308 or at reverendmauro@gmail.com. See our website at https://reverendmauro.wixsite.com/arcoirisweddings, or follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And congratulations on your big day.